guest, our next presenter is again one of our own, and I'm going to have Bill Hulbert, our Mr. Southern California Hall of Famer, introducing.
Thank you, Randy. This is the second game of a doubleheader on the art of teaching. We have Mr. Roger Gunn with us, who was an accomplished player. First of all, he was all Pac-10 at UCLA, go Bruins. How about that upset over Penn State? I have a son who went to UCLA, so we root for UCLA when we're not rooting for the Ohio State University. Thank you very much. But Roger played 2 years on a European tour, 3 years on the Nike tour, and then after that, he turned his attention to teaching. He currently is the 2025 recipient of the SCPGA Eddie Marin's Teacher of the Year Award, so kudos on that, Roger. But he's another one of those teachers that likes to give back. We had a discussion after last year's summit, as we always do, and it's also shows up in our surveys, which, by the way, please, when you receive the post-summit survey, please fill it out, send it back in, because that helps us get better and better. But anyway, we talked about, what do we need? What are people asking for? And again, it's what Devin did, a live lesson. It's what Roger's going to do, which is to talk about his process and his art of teaching, as Bill Harmon mentioned to us a couple times yesterday. So without further ado, and if you need me, Roger, I'll be right over here, but thank you for being here.
So first of all, Devin and I had an arm wrestling contest yesterday, and he lost, so he had to go first and have a live student. So he just did a fantastic job. So I'm going to talk about you for just 1 second. So he made a great diagnosis, which we're going to talk about here this morning with my presentation. He made a great diagnosis, so he was knocking on the right door the whole time, okay? So that's huge. So everything he did revolved around that. You made a comment that you were happy that the student didn't panic. So I'm going to change that and say, no, you didn't panic. So here you are in front of all these great teachers, great information. I wouldn't have blinked if he'd have stood there and just gone whack and he hit a beautiful one. But he shanks the first three right out of the box, okay? So that's unnerving, and you did an amazing job to keep him in the framework of that swinging motion he wanted him to do, and yet worked a little bit around the impact to get the impact where he wanted it, and then both student and teacher were able to thrive. So that was fantastic. The other thing I was going to say about one more comment that you made about the video, yes, that's going to help a ton when you're knocking on the right door. So if you're there seeing the video and you're saying, wow, it sure looks better, and he's sure hitting it worse and worse and worse, then you really want to be in tune with what you're asking him to do. So, and hopefully after my discussion, we can chat about that. But just awesome job, really phenomenal, yeah. So you see a lot of speakers these days using their phones. So I'm going to be an old school guy here. I got the thing in my back pocket here. I've got some cards here. So I would love to be smooth enough to not have to need them, but I'd rather have you guys get your best information instead. So I don't want to pass by anything that I want to talk to you about. So a couple little housekeeping things. I'm going to say and use the word you guys, with all due respect to the talented and lovely ladies that are here as well. No disrespect. I'm just trying to get with the program here. So, so there's that. And I wanted to do something that may be kind of fun, and it may be a complete disaster. So I want to just have you guys give me a little grace on that. And that is, has to do with my daughter. She went to University of Virginia. She now teaches at USC. I'm a Bruin, so yuck, but it's a great school. So she's teaching in the grad school, and when she does that, and she puts out some good points, her students are very delightful. They'll say, oh, Miss Gunn, that was so great. I really enjoyed hearing that, and I totally understand what you're saying. It comes out of their mouth as, I heard. Okay, that's what comes out of their mouth. So if I can get some of the top teachers, Alan Ochiai and Alice and all, at the end of this presentation to be able to go, heard, then I may have done my job. So when we're speaking, she was in the Jefferson Society at Virginia. If someone made a point and they wanted the speaker to keep speaking, but they really like it, they'd give a snap. I want to give a little sound test here. If you guys can give me a little snap. Cool. All right. So throughout this presentation, if you hear something that you like, maybe is new, maybe is a twist, maybe it's something you forgot about that you knew before, and you really are going, yeah, that's cool. Give it a little snap. Go ahead. Okay? I'm not going to consider it rude. It's going to consider to help me know that I'm over the target. Okay? So if you guys can do that, that would be just wonderful. In coming to the Teaching and Coaching Summit, which is just an absolute giant now, and what a great job Randy and Jamie and all the participants have done. I've always left here feeling a little bit like, could the teacher on the line every day take the information the next day and help Mr. Jones, who's a 13 handicapper, but he's coming to you and he's shanking every single ball? Are they going to be able to have some tools to help with that? So maybe, maybe not, but I'm going to try to fix that today and like I say, give you guys some real life tools that you can use right off the bat tomorrow. And so the other thing, you may have heard Randy yesterday talk about phones. So, I might walk away from a presentation like this and go, nobody was listening, they're all on their phones. So it's time for you to get out your phones if you have it. If you don't have it, maybe a friend is nearby, because part of this presentation is going to be the film that goes along with it, and I'm going to show you some films that I show people to help them understand how the golf swing works, okay? So if you go to my Instagram page, it's at Roger Gunn Golf, and you'll see slides 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. So we're going to be referencing slides 1 and 2 starting out here. So watching Devin go through his lesson, many of the questions he was asking, I would ask as well. It's just that he's way younger and way better looking. But, getting in tune with what your student is looking for, and some of the things you're going to be working with is important. And so some of the questions that I will ask a student when it's a first-time lesson, tell me about your game, is what I'll say. And they might give you a litany of things, I'm hitting the ball to the right or left, or I can't make contact, or I want to beat my friend, or whatever it may be. So it helps you to start to get in tune with their game. I will ask them, does your swing have, or your shots, when you miss, is there a pattern right or left? So that helps me to start to make the right diagnosis. So we're going to talk about diagnosis a little bit more as we go, but it's kind of like this. So if I had a haystack here, and you needed to find a needle in the haystack, that would be pretty tough. But when you're diagnosing it and using the clues you get, it's like saying, it's right in here, right in here. So then you're knocking on the right door, and you're going to find it. Devin knocked on exactly the right door with his student there, which was fun to watch. It's a winner for both of them. So do your shots have a pattern, right or left, when you miss? I will ask them about other sports that they've played. Have you achieved excellence in another sport? Love tennis players, because tennis players, all the spin characteristics of the shots that they hit will translate to golf. So that's very helpful and good information to know. If they're a master in karate, they know about discipline and hard work and all that good stuff. So it helps me to tap into and be able to speak in their language a little bit better, which helps you to connect with the student, which is a good one there. I will also ask, like Devin did, what I'll say is, does anything hurt? Anything hurt? So I had a student, I guess I'm in my 4th decade now of teaching. I had a student one time, and we were working on his turn, and he's doing okay, but not great. Oh, by the way, I have 4 discs fused in my back. So probably information that I could have used when I started that lesson. And then I'll say, well, how much golf are you getting to play? And so they might say, I play once every 2 weeks, or once a month, or I play every day, whatever. I need to know that. If they say I play once every 2 weeks, I'll say the magic number in this game is the number 2. Number 2. You need to get a club in your hands at least twice a week. And so I don't care if it's 15 minutes of 9-irons on the way home, get a club in your hands. And for bonus points, if you can do that, get a club in your hands twice and play once a week, now you can really move in a nice forward direction. So that helps them a little bit. And it helps you as well, because if you're telling them some stuff but they don't work on it, then they're going to come back and think you don't know what you're doing, instead of jump starting them to the work that you want them to do. I will ask what their handicap is. What's your handicap? I'm an 8. Well, there's different kinds of 8s. There's an 8 who's playing 3 shots better than he's ever played. He's been a 12 his whole life. There's an 8 who used to be a scratch player and played in college. So you need to know who you're talking to so that you can have a good conversation with them. The scratch is going to understand a lot of concepts that the other 8 might not. And so that, again, it gives you the clues you need on how you want to communicate with this student. So after that, I will say, okay, let's go ahead and watch you hit some balls. And so the way I do it is I have them start with an 8-iron. Hopefully they've come to warm up. Most of the time they haven't. So you just get some balls in there. And I will tell them, I need a little chance to learn your swing. So I'm going to watch you hit with some different clubs, and then we'll talk after that. So what I'm doing is I'm taking in all the factors. I've already got a jump start because I asked them, where's your miss? I hit it to the right, that kind of thing. So I've already have a jump start on that. And I will watch them hit usually with an 8-iron, a 5-iron, maybe a hybrid, and a driver. And I've heard this over the years that people, when they talk about my lessons, I've heard them say, that first part where you really didn't say much of anything, I really like that. So interesting, huh? So, I might be saying, they fan one over to the right. Is that the one you were talking about? Oh, no, it's way worse, or whatever, or I'm hitting it over to the right and the ball's rolling on the ground, so he or she is shanking the ball. Is that the one you were talking about? Oh, yes, that's it, whatever. So I'm taking into account all the factors that are playing into the mix. So as a basic concept, and when I'm chatting with you guys, it is truly my hope, seeing all these younger faces out there and the great work you guys are doing, that us old guys can continue to create a nice platform for you to springboard and be way better than we were. I'm so happy about golf right now because my generation, if you guys weren't better, then what did we do? So I'm really excited to see the stuff you guys are learning. I think that though I'm an old school guy, I do teach for the flight scope and all that, but some old school stuff that it can give you some additional background to maybe handle some circumstances. So anyways, the idea here is that I'm going to talk about the swing as a circle. Now, easily someone can go, it's not a circle. It's not a perfect circle. Right, it's not a perfect circle. But for the practical application of our discussion today, it is, okay? We're also going to talk about where the ball starts and what it does in the air. So I'm going to talk about how the ball is going to substantially start where the face was looking at contact. No, it doesn't. It's only 75%, 73% with a sand wedge, or whatever it is. Again, for today's discussion, yes, it is. Okay, so we're trying to get in the ballpark so that you don't do this one thing, and that is knock on the wrong door. You mustn't knock on the wrong door. So what's the wrong door? So you know how when you go take your car in and you're sitting on the bench and everybody's waiting for their car and stuff. So you bring your car in and your car is overheating. So there's something in the cooling system that's wrong. So you've got your car there and the person sitting next to you goes, this is easy. There's a big old crack in the windshield right there, okay? And the other person's like, no, air in the tires. Look at those tires are low. What's the mechanic going to do? Hi, Mr. Gunn, how can I help you? What's happening with your car? It's overheating. So he knows where to look all of a sudden. He's in the right part of the haystack. So I'm looking at the cooling system. Okay, so we open it up, and there's a problem with the hose. There's a hole in the hose, which is why it keeps overheating. So could I take a gunny sack and tie it around the hose? Would it get better? Yep, it sure would. Would it be long-lasting and what I'm looking for in the long run? No, but it's going to get better. I'm not knocking on the wrong door. I'm not fixing the windshield, okay? How about some crazy glue? Wonderful. It's going to get better, but is it going to be long-term? Maybe not. Changing the hose is the best one to do, okay? But again, as long as you're knocking on the right door, the student has a chance to get better. Now, they're happy and you're happy. It's the ultimate win-win in teaching, okay? So, how to do that, how to make your right diagnosis. Let me see where I am in my, in my thing here. So, yes, so the diagnosing of the elements here, you basically want to think of it as being quantified. So let's say you've got someone that is swinging 10 degrees outside in. So they're knifing across it pretty good. In the setup, though, they might be standing just a taste open to it, but not something that would cause 10. So as a coach, you'd be looking at it going, okay, there's some of it right there. Where's the rest of it? It's going to be in one of three places: the setup, the backswing, or the downswing. That's it. So our haystack just got a little smaller, didn't it? So I'm looking now for, well, there's 2 degrees of it right there. Where's the other 8 coming from? Nope, that's sure not it. That is not portraying a swing that's going to be miles outside in. This is. That is. That might be the rest of it right there. So if we have this person here, you're going, well, this is like almost a drawback swing. And he goes like that. Now you got the rest of it. Okay. So now you're saying, okay, we're going to need you to stand around this way just a little bit at address, and then we're going to work on that change of direction to get it to come from the right spot. So in other words, it's not necessarily one thing you're looking at. It may be multiple things that you're looking at that you need to address. And so quantifying what they're doing is a big one. And again, it all relates around the diagnosis there. So okay. So once I've watched them hit, I'm very big on making sure that golfers know what's supposed to happen. If they're a 5 handicap or less, there's a decent chance they know what's supposed to happen. If they are a 5 to a 15, it's a poor chance that they know exactly what happens. And if they're above a 15, they have 0.0 chance of knowing what's happening, okay? So there are 2 ways that I've described this. I've morphed a little bit now because I teach on mats that have graphics on them. So I'm going to do both for you in terms of how I describe how a swing is supposed to work. And that's the exact verbiage I'll use with the student. I'll say, okay, so I want to talk to you for a moment about what the swing is supposed to do, and then we're going to talk about how you might be deviating from that to have the shot pattern that you're getting, okay? So then I will go ahead and describe it. So I haven't done this one in a long time because I haven't had to, but here's how I do that. So, and like I say, I'll do both of them. So I'll say, okay, I want to take the golf ball and put it up in the air for a moment like a baseball, like it's up here. And I might do this with a pretty good golfer too. This might be an 8 handicap, whatever. So I just want them clear on swing plane. So I'm going to hold the ball up in the air like this, and I'm going to swing back and forth like that, just like that. So if you could imagine a big pane of glass resting here, that could be called a swing plane. So when you hear the term swing plane, that's what we're talking about. And so they'll go, oh, okay, yeah, I have heard that, but I didn't know what it was. So, and I would say also, if you would look down from above, you would see a circle that's going around me. So it's not a straight line motion. It's not straight back. It's not straight through. Even though I want the ball to go straight, I don't go straight. I go in a circle. So then I will say, now the ball's not up in the air. It's on the ground. So I'm going to take, actually I don't think I need this one. It's been so long since I've done this one. I'm going to take the ball now and put it back on the ground. And I do this with a club. And I'll show you guys. So when I go like this, I'll say, I'm going to put it back on the ground, and I'm going to tilt that swing plane with it. So you can see it's a real nice visual, huh? You see that? Not a single finger snap. Everybody's like, I forgot about it. Yeah, every time you guys hear something that's cool. I thought that's a real good visual. I was in a mirror one day, and I did that, and I'm like, oh, that looks nice. And so it's still a circle going around me, but that circle is now tilted. Okay? So now they have a really good jump start on what a swing is supposed to do. Because what you don't want is to have the student trying what you're asking them to do, but they're under the premise that you're supposed to go straight and hit the ball up in the air. So they're working on something else that's wrong while you're trying to do something that's right. So I don't want that, okay? Now, what I'll say is, oh, and here's the other one. So on my mat, which has a white line on the mat, I'll say, this white line, I want you to sear it in your brain, okay? This is how the swing works. And so the club actually comes in right on that swing plane right there, on that circle. You can see how it's going like this on an arc there. And it's very much like my hand when I clap. So if I clap, I go like that. If this hand weren't there, it would go like that. So that's the same motion. It's closing like a gate. It's not being twisted, okay? So it's on a circle. It's going around me. It's closing like a gate, and we're in business. Now, I want to show you this one thing, and that's where I break out that one film. How many people can see the film in slide 1? Big show of hands? No show of hands? All right, if you can't see it, then try to get yourself where you can. All right, and so I'll say, well, I want to show you the impact, very high-speed footage of a guy that used to be good in the 90s and the early 2000s, a guy named Tiger Woods. So I'm sliding in here in this presentation a number of the little buzzwords and terms just to have fun myself, and they have fun, and so it's a good time. So they're like, oh, Tiger Woods, yeah. So I'll say, now the first thing you see when you're looking at this film is that the swing is not straight. You can see it tracking an arc. The ball gets hit, boom, and goes up in the air, and then the club hits the ground after that. And the final thing you'll see is that the club is closing like a gate. It's only straight at the moment of contact. The rest of it is a circle going around us. If you also notice, with the ball getting hit first and then the turf, we're not swinging where we want the ball to go. Why is golf so hard? That's probably a real good guess right there. We're not swinging where we want the ball to go. I'm not swinging 20 degrees up to hit my 8-iron up in the air like that. I'm swinging 4 degrees down. Awesome job on the strike angle, by the way, Devin. That was really good. Yeah, I think for those of you on a TrackMan, an average tour pro with an 8-iron is about 4.4, I think, give or take, real close to that. So anyways, we're not swinging where we want the ball to go. We're actually swinging to hit the ground in the right place. And the fact that the club has a pitch to it, so I'm talking a little bit more to a newer golfer, the fact that it has a pitch to it is what makes the ball go up into the air, okay? This is jaw-dropping for golfers who are not very good. That is just, their heads fly up. They can't believe what they're hearing. They've never seen it. They've never heard it. No clue as to what that's all about until now you show them and you're like, wow. Now, slide 2 is another guy. Any finger snaps for the last one there? Okay. Is it cheating when you're begging for the snaps? What I'll say is, here's another guy who I think has great potential for being a nice player someday, Scotty Scheffler. And they're all like, ha ha, Scotty Scheffler. So if you look at that swing, you'll see, again, the same sort of thing. So if Scotty Scheffler were to come and hit 3-irons like that for us, all our mouths would be on the ground as he's hitting it so high and straight and far. But who knew that his swing is not straight at all? It's just going on a big old circle. You'll see the club appear on his rib cage over here with the toes straight up and down. So he has not rolled the thing over. Okay, so it's not that way. So now they're fully in tune with what I want them to do in terms of impact. And so for a newer golfer, I will tell them, I don't want you to think for a single moment about what you want the ball to do. I want you to think about what you want your swing to do. Our job is to go ahead and put this club, you remember our circle? Yes, I remember our circle. Okay. I think I passed by my one on the mat, by the way. No, I think I was pretty good. So I would show them the film. Anyways, so we're going to put this club over your shoulder. We're not going to have it behind us over here because that's set up to hit a ball that's up there. We're not going to put it over our hat. That's going to be too steep. So we want to have it somewhere in between in sort of the right shoulder area. and I'll walk them through the motion and put them where I want them to be. So a question was asked about grip, by the way. So the great Craig Shanklin said, grip bores me to death, bores them to death too. Here's the grip. Stuff that one on there, stuff that one on there, let's go. And so I might have refined that a little bit. The thumbs are on the ones. So if this is 12 o'clock here, your left thumb is going to be on 1 o'clock, and your right thumb is going to be on 11 o'clock. The thumbs are on the ones. They're on either side of the club. The lifeline on your hand right there, that was made for golf, so that fits fairly well on your thumb there, so we don't want it underneath right there. And, you know, depending on how far you want to go with it. So for me, if I have a newer golfer, maybe he doesn't have his fingers quite right or something, I don't really care too much about that. I mean, I'll polish it as I go. But showing them the grip there is the thing. And then, like I say, thinking about where that club is supposed to hit the ground. And so this is the protocol I will use on both mats and on grass, okay? So if I'm on grass, this is how I want them to learn. So I taught for 500 of my 1,000 years on grass and the other 500 on mats. So I've done both. So we're going to put a ball here, and then we're going to put a ball here as a reference for where this ball was. And then what we're going to do is have them make a practice swing right here, up over your shoulder. Remember, Mr. Jones? Yes, I remember. Okay. Up over your shoulder, and let's see if we can catch that ground after the ball. So you want to do that just like Devin did with his tee there. You want to do that until they can do that proficiently before you take a crack at it, okay? Then when they hit, they're going to hit their shot, boom, and it should look some version of that, because that's where the ball was, and there's where it hit the ground there. See, the reference ball tells you where your ball was when you were hitting, and so now you can look and see, you know, and the student certainly can. You know, you'd say, I don't want this club to touch the ball so it looks like that. I don't want this divot occurring early. And so elements of hitting the ground later, swing shape, which we're going to talk about in a minute, the movement of your body, getting your weight into your front foot and turning, and your hand action. So I can have great body motion that would hit the ground just fine and go like that with my hands and still hit the ground miles behind. I feel really bad about doing that. The course is so nice. Sorry, Pachanga. But so those are some of the elements that'll get you. But again, this is sort of a practical application of the knowledge to get them to start to hit the ground in the right place and feel it. And then what you can do is show them after the shot. I still need you to get down to the ground a little bit more. I still need you to hit the ground more forward. Let's move. Let's practice swing. Let's keep doing it. And so then all of a sudden they start to get the hang of it. So that's off of grass. Off of grass. No? Nothing. I'm going to have fun with that, I think. Off of mats, I tell them to get a baggie full of pine needles. So what they're going to do, guys, the way I say it to them is, I want you to go to your local pine tree and get a baggie full of pine needles, okay? And what you're going to do is you're going to put the pine needle 1 club head distance in front of the ball and put it on the mat, right like that, okay? And then when you hit, I want that pine needle to be gone. So that's going to ensure that you're hitting the ground in the right place. If you swing and the pine needle is displaced, but the ball is not airborne, then the pine needle got moved by the ball and not by the club, okay? And that's what I'll tell them. If your pine needle's moved, but the ball's not on the air, then you've hit the top of the ball. So let's say they're having a tough time doing it. So 1 club head length in front. So I'll have them set up. Good. Remember our backswing? Yes, I do. Okay. Knock the ball out of the way, so it's just them and the pine needle. Go ahead and make their swing. Boom. I might have a little fun with it too when you know, maybe they cheat their backswing and go up here. I'll say, now, no cheating when you're doing this. What's cheating? Cheating is going, okay, Coach Roger wants me to hit the ground more forward. Gotcha. How's this? There, I hit the ground more forward. It's like, no, I need you to do it from here. And I'm going to walk through how I show them this in a moment. But they should be able to hit that pine needle there. I was warming up for a round recently, and I had an 8-iron like that. It was 2 club head lengths in front. I just wanted to see. And I always pointed at the ball, so it's low if you're doing it with a tee on the grass. You can do the same thing on the grass, by the way. So I hit a really nice 8-iron shot, and lo and behold, that thing was gone. So that's the club bottoming out after the ball. Okay, any questions on that? So new golf, thank you. New golfers off the mats and off the grass, okay? Now, if you're doing something that works, then that's what you do. So I have zero issue with someone starting a golfer off a tee. That's perfectly fine. So Manuel de la Torre, I was at a clinic of his, oh gosh, a million years ago. He said, you know, I always start them on the ground because I don't want to have to cross another bridge later on where they're rocking off a tee and you stick them on the ground and they're having a heart attack all of a sudden. And so ever since then, I've just put them smack on the ground. So I'm interested in them hitting the ground in the right place. So much like Devin did, I'll have them make lots and lots of practice swings until it's in there, and then we go ahead and try to hit some shots. So that's just the way I've done it. And so I like to get the new golfers up in the air right off the bat in their first lesson. So they have fun and we have fun, and it's great. So any questions about that, the new golfer impact stuff? So a lot of my teaching will be sort of getting the person in the right spot for what I want them to do. And then they have to, kind of learn, like, what are you supposed to do from here? And then I'll help them with that. And again, I'm going to show you how I show a student in just a minute here. Now, let's talk about diagnosis. How many folks are teaching exclusively with technology? So like TrackMan, FlightScope, Quad, higher. I need to see hands. Okay. That's a smaller number than I thought. So most folks, you can put your hands down. So most folks are teaching without technology. Okay, so I'm so glad you're here. I'm so glad you're here. Now, in the book, so you can review this in the book that was given out this week, there's an area I'm going to call the zone of truth. That's in the middle of the face right there, okay? That is the zone of truth. If the golf ball is hitting that part of the golf club, then it's telling you the truth out there. If you're hitting way on the toe or heel, it's lying to you. What would be a classic situation of a lie? Someone who's shanking the ball. Does that mean that their club is pointing over there? No, it doesn't. How about a new golfer that almost whiffs it off the toe and jumps straight back into the tray there? Does that mean their face was looking over that way? No, it does not. It's a lie. So we're going to talk about the truth here first, and then we're going to talk about the ones that are lying to you and what to do about it. So, as I said before, substantially, the ball is going to start where the face was looking at contact, okay, when it's in the zone of truth. So I've thought a lot about how I wanted to put this forth to you guys because I don't want your eyes to glaze over as we're talking about this. So there's club face looking at the target, and then there's the club face oriented where we want it for the shot we're trying to hit. They're two different things, okay, and we're going to talk about those. So let's say I've got this beautiful PXG 6-iron, and I'm trying to hit it into the middle of the green from the fairway. My ball started in the middle of the green. So I'm going to do this first one for you. Where was my club face pointing? In the middle of the green. That's where it was pointing, because that's where it started, okay? I was trying to hit a straight shot. So the club face was also perfect for where I was trying to hit it. This is good feedback for what I need to alter if I need to alter anything. We're going to stay with that start line. I'm trying to hit a dead straight 6-iron. For me, it's 175. For Devin, it's 235. But it starts in the middle of the green, but it didn't stay there. It went somewhere else. So, I'm going to step one step back before I do that. If the path and the face are matching one another, the ball will not turn in the air, in the zone of truth. It won't turn in the air. So when I hit a dead straight shot, one into the center of the green when I was trying to, my face was straight and my path was straight. I don't have to guess. It's not a feel thing. The ball's telling you what's going on. It's telling your students too. So that's why you want to chat with them about this stuff. Let's say now we're talking about the path relative to the face. So the more different the face and the path are, the more the ball is going to curve. So let's say I start my ball beautifully in the center of the green, and it turns over into the right bunker. Why did it do that? Anybody want to hazard a guess? Why did my ball end up in the right bunker? Is all of the great. So all of these first ones here are in the zone of truth, okay? Great question though. Yeah. So when the path is left of the face, the ball turns to the right. And when the path is right of the face, the ball is going to turn to the left. So I'm going to give you a lot more. So I don't want you guys to be going, oh my God, I knew that. So, so yes, the path is to the left of the face, okay? Are you sure the face is okay? It's sliced into the bunker. Are you sure it's okay? Bang. So yes, the face was fine. Do I need to try to fix the face? No, I don't have to try to fix the face. The face returned where I wanted it to. The path was not correct. And so now I need to knock on that door. So I had a really good player, high school player, and he turned one over to the left, started straight, he swung too far inside out. What happened on that one? He shows me this. I said, no. I said, what? The ball started straight, so your face was straight. Why did it turn to the left? So now it sparks a different part of their brain. Tom Lehman's a very good friend of mine. We were on the golf course one time, and so he hit a 9-iron on an approach shot over to the left side of the green, which for him was a terrible shot. And I said, what happened on that one? He goes, I got over the top of it. And I still can't, to this day, believe I said this to him. What about that divot tells you that that's not true? Is what I said. Future #1 player in the world. And he goes, he's looking at the divot and he goes, oh, I hooked that ball? I go, yeah, that is left because of the face, not because of your path. So I ran into him, it was quite a few weeks later. He goes, man, that little discussion helped me so much, because I always thought if it was looping over there that I'm over the top. And that's what a lot of your students will think too, because when I'm going this way, and the ball's going like that, it must have some element of that, right? Wrong. It's not. A lot of times that shot is hit beautifully like this, where it's going like that, you see? And we're going to chat a little bit more about that too. But, okay, so now, let's say, okay, my good friend Tatum. So Tatum has a beautiful teaching job, and she's lucky enough now that Dustin Johnson has come to her and says, Tatum, my driver, I don't like what's happening. I like to play a little butter cut that carries about 330 and slides there, and it's not happening. So now she already knows what shot he's trying to hit, and she's going to say, let me watch you hit one. So where are you trying to start it? I'm trying to start it at the tree on the left center. And where are you trying to turn it to? Oh, right side of the fairway. Okay. Whack. Of course, her ears burst because it hit so hard. It started right at the tree. So how is his club face for the shot he was trying to hit? Perfect. Yes, it was perfect. His ball stayed dead straight and didn't move a whisker. And he goes, see, there it is. Where's my cut? Where is his cut? Louder. His path. What's wrong with his path? It's too straight. That's right. So just dropping that information on him is all you would need to do with a player like that. You're not swinging left enough. Oh, you mean like this? Whack. And then he'd probably do it perfectly right off the bat. So watching where it starts, knowing what the player's trying to do in the first place, and then comparing those elements is very, very helpful. Let's say that he starts the ball at the same tree that he said, and it cuts way too much. Now what? Yeah, he swung too much to the left, okay? So now you're right over the target. You're right where the needle is in the haystack. You're not bouncing around looking at this and looking at all this other stuff and trying to bounce around and try to, point to something that may or may not relate to the real fix. And that's why I say, in terms of diagnosing, you have to watch out big time. Because a student may come to you, maybe it's someone you've never met before, They've got 3 major flaws that you can see right off the bat, and about 8 others that you could go, yeah, that's not good either. And they stand there for you and they hit 10 terrible shots and turn to you and go, what should I do now? And you're going, well, you know what? You can never go bad by just starting with the grip and moving into the stance and going systematically through that. You might systematically be taking away the only thing that's allowing him to hit the ball at all if you do that. I'm not saying every time by any means. And lots of teachers are very successful doing that, but watch it. You're playing with a rattlesnake when you do that. So here's a real world example. So I had a guy, big tall guy. Hi, Roger. I want to get a lesson with you. I'm a 15 handicapper, but I haven't broke 90 in forever. I'm playing awful. I'm just hitting it terrible. Okay, well, let's go out and watch him. So he stands there. He's got his ball miles forward. He's got his club face set down about like that with the weakest grip you've ever seen in your life. Okay, this is how he stands to it. And I'm thinking, well, this is going to be easy. This is run-of-the-mill slice. I've lost all my power, blah, blah, blah. He takes this thing, and he is the biggest bona fide hooker you ever saw, starting right of the orange flag and planing across the sky like this. And I'm standing there going, wow, wow. Like this is how he hits it. And so luckily I knew enough at that time that you don't necessarily jump at the most egregious looking things. Because look at this. If I took that golfer and said, nobody stands like that, okay? We got to get you more here. Okay, that looks much better. Let's get that grip in the right spot. Relax, cool. All right. And so now, have you made him better? Yeah, arguably. He's got a better stance, sure. Then he goes ahead and makes his swing and hits the ground right there, over there. So now he's way worse as a golfer. You made him better, and he got way worse, okay? This is not a good situation. You do not want that. So I knew that was a potential pitfall. About well into the lesson, it hadn't budged, not one speck with what I was trying to get him to do. And I'm trying all different ways to kind of clean up what he's doing that's making him hook it with his hand action so much. Finally I said, I want you to tell me exactly what you're trying to do when you're swinging. Oh, nothing, I'm just swinging. I go, okay, well, it's going to stay the same if you do that. So then he pinches out about 5 really good ones in a row. I said, now what are you trying to do? He says, I'm trying to do that thing you said. Oh, okay. So off he goes. All right. So he comes back a week later. I am so happy. I'm so happy. I broke 90 by a mile. I hit a lot of good shots. This is great. But you know what? I'm starting to slice the ball a little bit. Yay. Guess what I get to fix now? I get to fix his ball position, his grip, and all that stuff that I wanted to fix in the first place. But it was a smooth transition and not this horrible thing where he goes in the tank and can't play golf and shoots 110 because you quote-unquote made it better. So you just want to be very watchful about the elements. If you all want to do yourself the biggest favor in the world, it's the #1 National PGA Teaching and Coaching Summit video, is Jim Hardy's Pluses and Minuses in Nashville. I think it was 92. It is worth every dollar if you have to pay for it. I don't know, but it's fantastic. Did you ever study personally with him? Yeah. So he's been my coach for 40 years, Jim Hardy. So he will talk, about the pluses and minuses, shallow, steep. Watch what you're doing when you're taking a swing and quote-unquote making it better. You might be making it more shallow when he's already too shallow. You might make it more closed when he's already too closed, that kind of thing. So you want to watch out for that, okay? Now, let's get back to the zone of truth. So let's say now that I've hit a driver and it starts on the left cut of the fairway. Where is my face pointing? Left cut of the fairway is where it's pointing. So my ball did not stay there. If it did stay there, that means I'm swinging right where the face is pointing. It turned 10 yards to the left, okay? This is not a big hook. It's over in the left rough, 10 by 10 yards. It's not a big hook. So why did my ball go that direction? Where's the path? compared to the face? To the right. So because it turned to the left. Well, if I look at a ball that's not turning very much like that, that would mean the path was slightly right of the face, okay? And so where is slightly right of the face in that scenario? The fairway, the fairway. So my path might have been pretty darn good. It wasn't way off. I'm not going to stand there and go, you know what, just like I always do, I dropped away underneath and did that. Like, no, you didn't. Your path was actually pretty good. So you got to maybe look at your hand action, that we're not torquing this head or doing a grip or something with your hand action, whatever. Now you're knocking on the door of the club face. You see? So the ball will help you to quantify a little bit by how much it turns. So if it turns a little bit, then the path and the face are not that different. If it turns a lot, then they are that different. And so now you would look and see where did it start, what did it do in the air, and now you're off and running in terms of making a great diagnosis. This is huge when you're on the golf course with a student. You get some college player who's a really good player, and he squeezes one out there that's just a little too much this way. It's like, where did it start and what did it do in the air? What do I want to try to alter to create the shot that he's trying to hit? You see? So, any questions on that, on the zone of truth and how it's going to start? Oh, thank you very much. I got 3 up from 0. This is absolutely huge for yourself as well as for your golfers to be able to make a right diagnosis. So the golfer who doesn't do this, most amateurs will do this, and this is why I absolutely have this conversation. It's not so long-winded as this, but I'll teach them how to look at their ball flight, especially good players. So if you have a player, what do? They have 2 kinds of shots, most golfers. They have shots they like and shots they don't like. That's it. That's the only 2 kind they have. And so if they hit shots they like, they're happy. If they hit ones they don't like, they start changing stuff. Maybe that's my elbow. Maybe that's my knee. And they are bouncing around everything without no reference whatsoever for where they are in the spectrum. And so what I say, that would be like Bill and I taking a drive. Bill's driving and he's blindfolded, and I'm sitting next to him going, "You're not in the lane." Yeah, you're still not in the lane. But I'm giving him no guidance whatsoever. So you don't want to be like that for yourself or for your golfers. Just because you're hitting a shot that you hate, it's like make sure that you're knocking on the right door to try to make it better. Okay? So, zone of truth is much easier. With a TrackMan, by the way, again, watch it. It's giving you information. TrackMan sees the direction of the club head. It does not see the face. It is interpreting where the face is by where the ball jumped. So that's why, have you guys ever seen readings where you would go, that's a hook right there, and you just watch the ball do that? You're going, well, that's weird. That's what's happening, is you might have hit it on the toe or heel, so it started differently from where the face was, and we're about to chat about that right now, but foresight with the dots, it's actually seeing the club face. TrackMan is not. So a lot of times you have to sort of almost ignore what the ball flight is telling you regarding, scratch that. You have to ignore what TrackMan is saying regarding the face and look and see what the ball is telling you about where it started and listen to the sound of it as well. So, is that clear, by the way? Is that clear? So TrackMan's guessing, okay, in terms of where the ball started. I love TrackMan. TrackMan's awesome, but that's a little bit of a pitfall there. Now, toe and heel, the ball is lying to you. So now, can we interpret what's happening by looking at the ball out there still? Yes, we can. We can get in the ballpark, so we're not like miles off. When you hit it on the toe, the ball is going to start more right than it really should have for where the face actually was. It's going to start more right than where it should have. If you hit it in the heel, it's going to jump more left than it really should have for where the face was actually pointing. Okay? Also, the horizontal gear effect. So when it turns open this way, the ball rolls the other way this way. And so it will either put draw on it, or it will make it slice less. Okay, it'll do one of those 2 things depending on how oblique the strike is. Okay, same thing in the heel. So a couple real life examples. And again, I hope you guys are enjoying the stories from the trenches. I had a guy who is not a good golfer. He's 17 degrees outside in. He's just knifing this thing. It is going, starting on his start line, and flying perfectly straight, no curve. Okay? So if you didn't know what you were looking at, you'd be going, well, I guess his path must be kind of straight because it's going straight. He's just mishitting a little bit. Oh, no. What do you think was happening? Big time on the toe. He is nicking this thing on the toe. How do you think his smash factor was? How efficient the hit was? Not great. So he's hitting this thing, 130 on the carry. But, so that's a situation where the ball is lying to me in terms of what it's saying. But because I can listen to it, I've always said if you were to block my hearing, you might as well block my eyes. Because I can hear what's happening and see it on the club, I know what I'm looking at. And so where this can manifest will be in the next kind of golfer, and that is, had a very good player. I think it was a seminar like this, and he had a hybrid. And so he hit his hybrid also dead straight, perfectly straight, no curve whatsoever, right on his aim. But it was kind of a dead hit. He hit it a mile in the heel. So where do you think the swing direction was there? Yeah, to the right. So what happened was he hit it in the heel, which jumped the ball more left than it should have. He actually delivered it with an in to out 7 degrees inside out. Caught it in the heel, started straight, flew 215 instead of flying 235. So there again, he's hitting in a spot where the ball is lying to him. So where that can show up is you're working with that player and you're assuming that his swing is pretty straight because he's hitting it pretty straight, and you're kind of working on stuff, and then he comes back next week and goes, well, I duck hooked every ball. He kept turning over. Well, maybe he's hitting in the middle of the face now, and he's 7 degrees inside out, and the thing's looping across the sky that way. Okay? So that's how it can show up. That's why, again, you want to make sure that you're in the ballpark. Okay? All right. Any questions about that stuff? Yeah? Okay. So I have to refer to my thank you. Thank you very much. Okay. So, oh my goodness. Okay, so we're going to take that, make sure we did that. Okay. Okay. Well, I mentioned my dear friend Tatum a few minutes ago. She's the daughter of a really good friend of mine, fabulous teacher. I said, will you mind helping me today? And she's like, oh no. I said, oh yes. I said, so if you'll please come over. This is Tatum Mahan. Great player, great teacher. Okay, so I just want to show you all how I move the student the way I want them to. So if you go ahead and grasp it, and a lot of times I might be doing a practice swing with them. I might say set up next to the ball, not at the ball, whatever. And so, I might be looking at their stance. I might alter it one way or the other to make sure they're in the right spot. And, oh my God, have you guys, you can relax for a sec. Have you guys ever had this one where you start to walk through the swing and the student totally lets go? Yeah. Oh my God, that could be so funny. So here's what I do. Go ahead, make your setup. Okay, keep your grip. Keep your grip. Because I don't want to have them like this guy. Okay, keep your grip. So now we're going to go back this way. So what I'm doing is I got my hand on her shoulder, and I might remind her that at this point in the swing, it's along your toe line. And the toe is not perfectly straight up and down. It's a little bit like that. So then I might say, depending on what we're working on, we're going back as a package. So your arms, club, it's just one big package. So you're turning your shoulders, and there goes the club here. It's not going to go around that way unless you torque the thing or twist your hips a lot or something. So back here. And now, at this point, because I can't really move them back all the way I want that way. So now I'm going to put my hand here on her hand, and I've got my hand on her shoulder still. So now we're going to continue on up to the top. And so I'm making sure that she stays down, that she doesn't do this. It's that, okay? And I might take a look at the wrist position depending on what I want her to work on. So if it's a situation where she's been open and I want it more flat at the top, I might talk about that a little bit. So I'll just continue with the swing. And so now I will say, go ahead and shift your weight into your front foot. And so I've still got my hand on her shoulder, so especially, go back up to the top. Especially for the good player, I don't want her doing this, okay? So I got my hand on her shoulder. I'll say, go ahead and shift your weight into your front foot. Boom, like that. So your lead shoulder is still down. So your shoulders don't really reach the same height as one another until roundabout here. So if you pop it up sooner than that, it's going to be asking to be underneath. So now we're down into this area here. And now I've got a hold of it this way, and I'll go ahead and walk her through the motion that I'm looking for. So if it's maybe a poor golfer who's been coming this way and slicing like crazy, I might say, now I need you to come down your body a little bit more this way, and I want you to feel this club doing this on the way through. Now it's closing, but I don't want you to twist it. We're not going to torque it that way. Now, if you can relax for a second. So if that goes, so then I'll walk through what I want them to do. I might have them make some practice swings, and then I'll see how they do. So maybe this person is still struggling with having the thing too open on the way down. So I might say, I want you to feel like the club is closed by the time it gets to your right leg, all the way closed. So you're going to feel this happening sooner. And I will say to them, you know, the tour players start this closing process way up here. So if you wait till down here and try to do it, it's too late. Okay? And then we'll just watch the ball and have a good time just seeing what the ball is telling us. Okay? Now, I teach at a range that has some partitions, so it's pretty tight quarters. So I want to talk for a minute about staying safe, okay? So some people, I've known coaches who have shattered hands and shattered ankles, okay? My theory is that some folks, they're walking through their thing and their mind goes completely blank because they're just thinking about what they're trying to do, and they will cut loose with you standing right there, okay? So here's how I might approach a student, okay? So in the backswing here, so I'm a swordsman. If she goes back, she's going to hit that club there, okay? So the way I want to show them this is I'm going to say now, and you're going to go back into your backswing, but do not swing forward, okay? Are we clear? Okay, you're going to kill us both. So in the middle of this sentence, when you hear the word now, I want you to start going back, okay? So anyways, Tatum, I think you're swinging beautifully, frankly. And now what I want to do, I just went like that. She went back with me standing here when I don't want her to swing, okay? What did I say I've taught? This is my 4th decade. 2 times I've had a student fully cut loose into my club, full blast, whack, and go, oh my God, I can't believe I did that. But I was protected from that, okay? So again, when I hit the word now, you're going to go back. Anyways, so this impact area, right in here, we're going to look for the club to track a little bit more that way. We're not going to go this way here. And now, okay, so, oh, is that right? Yeah. So she's mad at me for coming out to bring her out here. But anyways, but that's what I'm doing. So watch yourself. And so now this, I'm going to really, really trust you now, okay? Please don't ever do this. So go ahead and go back in your backswing. Just stay there now, don't go. Don't ever do this. Don't ever stand there with their fully loaded with you unprotected in front of them. No, don't do that, okay? Now, sometimes I might say to them, and maybe I'm not holding a club, can you go to the top and stop for me, please? Okay, now stay right there, don't move. And then I'll approach them. I don't just go charging in there, okay? So you want to stay safe. I'll say, you can relax. So I'll say, don't move, and I'll make sure they're not moving. And then I'll go ahead and go in there and do my thing, okay? So that's a little word on staying safe. Thank you very much. It wasn't so bad, was it? I said, do you want to hit a 2-iron or a driver? She's like, no. So let's see. Okay, now when I literally have 0 idea how we're doing for time. How are we doing for time? 20 more minutes total? Okay. Have to go faster. So, okay. Warning the student what may happen is very effective as a teacher. Example, someone is well too steep. They're way up in the air. They're coming down smack on top of it. That airplane has perfect timing. I'm going to show you something cool in a second. So, we're going to get this person a little bit more round. We have a nice ball above the feet place at GDC where I teach. I might give them that sort of cue. And I might say to them, now, your airplane is used to landing like this. Your pilot is used to going, whoa, at the bottom, trying not to hit the ground too hard. So because of that, if you come in normally, you might hit the top of the ball. you might roll it on the ground. You might miss the ball completely if it's a newer golfer. And so there, instead of them making a swing and hitting the very top coat of paint and going, well, that didn't work, they're going, wow, this person really knows what they're doing. He has a crystal ball. He saw what I was going to do before I did it. Okay? So warning them what may happen is a very effective thing to do. Okay? So all of a sudden, you're the genius. So let me see here. Okay. So I want to go through this with our time, and I think it's time well spent to go rather expeditiously through it, so I get through some of the stuff here. Warning to the younger teachers out there, don't get old. So for older folks, so in a backswing, in a backswing, your spine has extension and it has flexion. What does your mom tell you when you were growing up? Stand up straight, right? So as we get older, we get more and more like this. So if I turn with flexion in my spine, that's all I got right there. So what am I supposed to do? Go to the gym? Is the gym going to give me 40 more degrees of turn? No, it is not. Okay? So you have to watch out for older folks in terms of turning. The spine in a good player will extend completely all the way straight, and they've got left side bend. Good luck explaining that to a student. So what you do instead is you give them the helicopter. So the helicopter is simply this. We go into our stance and go ahead and go like that. So your arms are all the way straight out with one another, stretching out this way. You notice what my left hand does? It got closer to the ground in an angle that way. And so I'll show them that, and I'll say, from a practical standpoint now, in terms of actionable intelligence is what I call it, you're going to feel your right hip and your right shoulder go up behind you. So now when we make our backswing, remember I could only get to here before. Okay? So now when the right hip and right shoulder go up behind me, now I've got a chance to make a much bigger backswing. And that can be worth 30 yards, 40 yards on a 7-iron to an older person, which is great. So the helicopter is super key in terms of stretching that backswing out, okay? And for me too. So, okay. All right, I want to talk about the swinging motion. Bill, will you give me a warning when it's 8 minutes? Okay. What I say to them is that the glue that holds it together is making sure it's a swing, and then we're not sort of moving through a position. So I'll show them this. I'll say, this is like a golf swing, just like this. So is it controlled? No, maybe. My arm's not like flopping all around the place, but there's a lot of freedom to it too. If I were to let go of my club right here, it's going to go flying away from me like that. So there's a lot of force getting pulled against my fingers. And what I tell the folks is the more you feel that tug on your fingers, the more efficiently you're swinging it. Alan, would you help me for 1 second? And this is what I'll do. Is your hand okay? Okay. So it's all right. Come on this side. And this is what I'll do to folks sometimes. So just go ahead and make your setup. Setup all the way down there. And I'll say, now, don't let me take the club out of your hands. So, and I'll tug it like this. And I'll say, you're going to feel this in your swing. It's going to tug on your fingers. But your wrists are still completely soft. So you should have no feeling whatsoever like the club is going to go flying. But so your fingers can be a little snug on there, but your wrists are very, very soft on the club. And so I will tell them, when you swing, that's what I want you to feel, is to go ahead and let the thing go through its motion there. Let it tug on your fingers. The more it does that, the better. Thank you very much, young man. So, and sometimes what I'll do is I'll have them swing one-handed, this way here, like that. So this can be very eye-opening for golfers too if I do it this direction here. I promise I won't let go. So looks kind of cool, huh? So it's got all the angle when it's supposed to, and the angle comes out of there. So, and I'll show them that, hey, as I'm moving here, there's my body initiating this motion with some weight shift, and then I'm letting the club swing like that. Athletically, if I thought it was a great idea to smash this bag stand, what would I do? Like that, right? So I would stride, I would cock my shoulders more, and then I would go bam and hit it. So that's kind of what a golf swing is. So we're up here, boom into the downswing there. Club's tugging on my fingers, so I get a lot of speed and a lot of effortless power when you do that. So again, very eye-opening for folks when they do that. Now, I want to have some fun with this next part here. Oh, speed protocol. If you study Dr. Kwan's work, great. So I've been certified in his program, wonderful stuff. We all want to hit it as far as Robert someday, but I don't think that's going to happen. So this is a great one for juniors, great one for, actually for weight shift as well. Here's the drill. The feet are together, we're swinging back and forth, boom, 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 like this. When the club passes your right leg here on that direction, you'll take a step to this side. So boom, boom, boom. And so, hold on a second here. Gotta get myself in sync here. So I'm stepping into the backswing. As I'm going back, I'm going to step the other way and swing. So that's what he calls an active backswing, where you're going back fast. You're not trying to go back slow. The active backswing makes you go back bigger. It looks like a pause when you're doing it. Might even feel like it, but that's a great one. And for people who don't shift their weight well, that really helps them too. I tell them the movement of the step corresponds to the weight shift in the actual swing. So when you feel it start to go this way, that's where it's supposed to go, just like I went like this to step to get it going. As I near the top, I'm already starting to center my weight, and so it gets them to do the right thing. Telling them, by the way, that in the backstroke, this is where the most weight is on your back foot, is about waist high on the way back, not at the top, not at the top. So when they get to the top, it's centering already. So now it's about even, and then they go ahead and shift their weight to about 75% in the downswing there. So that information can be very helpful for them too. Okay, so thank you. So that's a really good one. And so I'll have some fun. I usually average about 5 miles per hour with somebody. So I might have a high school golfer who's at 89. I usually get them 93, 94 by doing that drill. So it's very productive, very productive. And so that's a good one. Okay, so there was one other thing I wanted to touch on here. Okay, I'm going to hit 2 more points here. I could probably stand here all day and do this. Aiming. It would shock you how bad they are at it. You'd be in stone shock. So except for the folks who go on the course a lot with club golfers. So if I'm going to set a club down here, maybe to practice with, I want this parallel to where the golf ball is, parallel. That's about a foot, okay? That means they're a foot apart forever. Forever. So if I was to go down to that yellow flag down there and go, hi, you guys, this is a foot, you'd go, I can't see any difference. I see no difference, okay? So that's why I tell my golfers, instead of trying to figure out some parallel left, we've already established there's only 12 inches, just aim it smack at your target, right smack at it. And so what will happen is they're always going to be 12 inches off. Okay, so that's about it. Maybe they won't hole out as many shots as they would have, but it gets them in the ballpark every time. So the idea that it's 5 yards left at 100 and 15 yards left at 200 that's not parallel. So it may suit the shot pattern you're trying to hit. That's okay, but again, knowing what parallel is. Now, here's what I will do. I had a guy one time, big slicer, and when he was with me, he could draw the ball, hit the ball beautifully. How'd you play this weekend? Terrible. Okay. So work on his swing. Looks pretty good. You're hitting good shots here. How'd you play this next weekend? Awful, horrible. I'm shooting a million. Okay. So we finally go on the golf course. He is aiming 70 yards right. I'm not 70. Okay. And so he's either going to make a really nice swing and blast it right over there, or he's going to do some version of trying to get it back straight, which may make him knife it that much more, or he's going to torque his hands. He's all over the place. Okay. So what I will do is take a student, maybe we're in an area like this, where we're in a stall or whatever, and I'll walk them over to a place where there's nothing that they can reference, and I'll have maybe 2 or 3 clubs, wedge, 8-iron, driver. I want you to aim, see that red pin out there? Yeah, I see that. Okay, I want you to aim your 7-iron right at that. I want you to aim the driver between those 2 trees out there. I want you to aim your wedge here, and you won't believe what you'll see sometimes. where they'll stand up there. It's like, okay, we're going to go right at that big rock here, and great, and they'll lay this on you. And when he just stood there and hit it nice and straight on the mat 5 minutes ago. And so getting them to aim properly. Now, how to do that? And I talked to them about pre-shot routine too. So, is that my warning? That's my warning. Have we got 8 minutes? At my head, maybe. They think this is really cool when you do this, okay? By the way, if you're a player, you've done some cool stuff, tell them about it. Tell them about your successes. Tell them about your flameouts and then what you did about it. They'll love it. I'll say to them, okay, I want you to stand right there, and I'm going this way, okay? Just stand right there, and I say, I want you to watch only one thing. I want you to watch my eyes. That's it, nothing else. Just keep your eyes on my eyes. I said, here's how I hit a golf shot. I will stand back there. I will visualize it usually twice. So I'm visualizing it about halfway above the horizon, falling onto the target. I'll do that twice. 1, 2, and then my eyes come all the way back here, and I pick out a spot right there. So my eyes are on that spot as I'm walking up. There's nothing out there I'm interested in at the moment. So my eyes are still right there, still right there, still right there. Now I'm going to point the club face at that spot. I'm going to look and see how I did. Go ahead and get comfortable to the club. And then I can go ahead and waggle around if I like, okay? The students do not know how to do that. So if you walk them through that, it's very effective. Pick a spot out, set the club up to the spot, set up to the club. You work on setting up to the club away from the golf course in front of the mirror. So how am I doing at setting up to the club? Boom, sliding glass door right there. Bang, we're making our setup. Good, that looks cool. How about this? Very nice. Okay, so you can set up to the club pretty easily. You just got to get the club pointed in the right direction. Okay? Now, the final thing I want to touch on is what I call the real secret to teaching. Okay? My wife came out and watched me one time, and after she watched me, she goes, "Who is we? Who is we?" And I was trying to think about it. And little did I know the magic of that. When the person is hitting, a lot of times they're very self-conscious about being there. They're nervous. They don't know what's going to happen. And so let's say I've got a golfer who is going like this. They're very steep, very cup, just chopping it here. I would say go see Devin. No. So what I might say to them is, I've shown them what I need a regular, a normal swing to do. Now, the way you might be deviating from that, Mr. Wilson, is that the club is going up too much in the backswing, and it's also getting a little bit open at the top. So the club is orienting just a little bit this way. So what we need to do is we need to see if we can get the club to come a little bit more from here, and that will allow for a better approach, okay? That is so subtle, I can't tell you. It is Mr. Wilson and I against this evil foe, the club, okay? It's not him that's doing it. You're taking the club here or there. And I've had people say that. They go, you know what, you said the same thing that other guy said, but I don't feel bad today. I feel really good. And that's what it was, is I'm not personalizing the bad stuff. It is the club and we, which is very comforting. So the pro and I are going to go get this thing together, all right? So we're going to see if we can get the club to go the right direction, all right, in your motion. I cheat. I cheat when it comes to the mental side of the game. I cheat when it comes to my own game. So in other words, I might hit a shot and go, ooh, that's really nice. And then I go ahead and hit one totally thin, and I go, oh, look how good I am. Even when I miss, it still goes straight. Okay, I'm cheating like crazy. So I cheat on this one too. You did a great job that time. I just personalized it when he did something good. Okay? And so it creates this feeling with the player of comfort, and it's really been quite something. So if you ever watch me teach and hear me talk about we, I won't say it's conscious all the time, but that is what's happening. So I'll never personalize the negative, and I will personalize the positive. Okay? Yeah. So that's a very interesting one to do. You'll find your students blossoming like that. And so one last one that I'll give I really enjoy giving little kids this one. So you might have a 9-year-old or whatever that can swing the club pretty well, and they hit a shot, and I'll say 30 is the number. And everyone, they're all like, what? 30 is the number? What's that mean? 30 years. I need you to do that swing for the next 30 years. After 30 years, you don't have to do that swing anymore, but 30 years is going to be good. So, they get a big chuckle out of that. Say, I'm going to be 93 when I'm 30 years from now, so I'll be an old guy. That's another one I'll do in terms of speed and height. So I'll say, 40 years from now when I'm teaching, I'll be 103. This is going to be my golf swing. Maybe I'm going to hit one golf shot today. Okay. How high am I going to be able to hit it at that speed? No, can't. And so we got to get some speed in this thing to get it up in the air. High-speed players are worried about keeping the ball down. So that's a little selling point for the helicopter and the speed. Okay. So, all right. We're good? Okay. So, thank you very much. So I'm happy to stay a little longer for anybody who wants to come over and ask a question, or if you have any questions now, whatever the maestro says. Anyways, I hope you guys great luck and success, and feel free to reach out any time. If you have a student you're struggling with, or you want to ask about a concept or whatever, I'm happy to do that. Okay. Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you.